Well, hello there. Thank you so much for joining the conversation today on Ready, Set, Respond. We have a great program for you. My name's Carla Alisea. I'm the Director of Client Performance with Apartment Ratings and Satisfax. And I'm always grateful to be here with you today. And we do this every month where we discuss different topics that may be impacting your community, your reputation, or your operations. And, I try to design these conversations with a little something for everyone. So I hope you and your teammates will join in, participate in our audience polls, and take away some insights and resources to improve your customer satisfaction. Now, as always, at the end of the program, don't forget to head over to our social pages on Instagram or Facebook, where you can leave a comment and share your biggest takeaway from today's conversation for a chance to win a $50 gift card. Now, today on the program, we're going to be talking with Sarah from our review response team here at apartmentratings.com. And we're going to have a conversation all about crafting impressions. How do we align our response strategy with renter expectations? So I'm looking forward to bringing Sarah out soon, but before, let's go ahead and do some audience polls. Now, if you can, go ahead and scan that QR code on the screen and get logged in. And then I want to know a few things from you. Now, you may notice that we're using a new application today. So might take everyone a little while to get used to this new application. We're using a different polling system. Oh, but I can see you guys now. Fabulous. Thank you so much. So first question was, how do you respond to online reviews at your apartment community? We wanted to know, is the on-site team responding? Is a member of the corporate office responding? Is a third party responding? Are you not yet responding to your online reviews? And I think there was another option for, is it automatically being responded to by some kind of chatbot or AI? What I'm really happy about so far is I'm not seeing any auto responders, and that is fantastic. That's one thing we know for sure renters do not want is that a machine is responding to their customer service inquiries and or online reviews. They really want that personal touch. Looks like we've got 45% of you so far saying on-site teams are responding, 36% saying a member of the corporate office, couple people using some third-party suppliers, and then a couple still not sure whether or not they're ready to respond to their online reviews. Hopefully, after today's conversation, you'll understand the power that a great response has in conveying customer service to your prospects. Great, guys. Thanks so much. Let's go to our next poll question. Are you confident you can recognize a canned or automated response to an online review? So think about, you've been shopping, you're looking for maybe a television, a car, you've seen some reviews out there. If the management or company even responded, did you think that they responded personally, or was that a template they were using? How confident are you that you can tell? Look, 88, 90% of us saying, 91% saying, yes, we are confident that we can tell if that response was automated or canned. And you know what, guys? Renters feel the same way. 74% of them are saying, yeah, we can see a template. We can spot that template job from a mile away. All right, our last poll question. How much does the level of personalization in a business's response to online reviews impact your perception of that business? So again, put your consumer hat on. Think about the last time you looked at online reviews, whether you were subscribing to a new service or buying a product. You read those reviews, and yeah, the reviews shared a certain story and gave you a certain perception of that business. But then you read the response. Did that response also impact your perception? And if so, how much? So right now, what we're seeing is we're seeing 60% saying it was very impactful, about 27% saying moderately impactful, 25% saying extremely impactful. So yeah, even with us, in commerce, outside of our industry, we understand from our consumer brain that those responses really do matter. Guys, I think this is really a great time to bring out our guest. Sarah, are you with us?
Yes, hello everybody.
Hey, Sarah, thanks so much for joining the conversation today. I wanted to start off first by asking you, how is it that you ended up on our apartment ratings review responder team? Because I think that that's such a unique gift, writing, crafting different messages. What was your story or path to becoming part of our review responder team?
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me today. I've been working with Satisfaction apartment ratings for about, I would say, 3 years now. So I started freelance writing. I've always really loved writing, been passionate about it for basically as long as I can remember. And I started doing some freelance on the side of my full-time job. I was working full-time as an administrative and executive assistant. And in 2015, I started doing some freelance writing and started working with Internet Brands, the parent company of Satisfax, with two of their websites, doityourself.com and Wedding Bee. And I was kind of slowly building my writing portfolio up on the side of my full time job and wanted to do it full time, but maybe felt like I didn't have enough experience. And then COVID started, and like a lot of other people, I was kind of bored, looking to fill my time. So I started working with more freelance clients. And in 2021, someone from my editor from doityourself.com actually reached out to our team and said they were looking for someone for this apartment ratings review responder role. So I was working as an admin in the multifamily space at that time. So I was like, this could be great for me. It kind of combines both things like writing and multifamily, which I had the experience in. So I started working with the team then, and then in early 2022, I started writing and freelancing full time. So it's been really exciting, and I've absolutely loved working with the Satisfaction apartment ratings teams.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. Yeah. We have a really great culture here at Apartment Ratings and Satisfax, and it's always really great to be customer centric. And that's what we get to pay attention to. We get to pay attention to those renter expectations and meeting those expectations. And what a great way to do that when responding to online reviews. Here on the screen, guys, I wanted to show you some data asking renters from our biannual online renter study if they research their apartment community's online reviews before contacting the community. And again, I think it's over 70% of renters said yes. And I really thought it was interesting to break it down by age group, right? Here you could see that 18 to 24-year-olds absolutely, and 25 to 34-year-olds at 80%, above 80%, are saying, yes, those reviews are definitely having an impact on which communities I'm reaching out to. Sarah, what have you noticed in your role in responding to multifamily online reviews with the rise of social media and reputation management? How important is it that property management teams are actively engaging with their reviews?
I think especially with how much people are just on their phones and looking at social media and Google these days, it's so important. I even in responding to reviews come across people reviewing a community, even if they haven't personally had an experience with it, saying like, I've been reading reviews of the community and this is what my like opinion is of it from reading those reviews. So just making sure that you have that strong online presence and responding wherever you can, because I do think from a personal standpoint, if I'm looking to go to a restaurant or stay at a hotel, if I notice a property with a lot of reviews and management isn't engaging with them, particularly with the negative reviews, I do think it is a poor reflection and can give you a bad taste in your mouth. So just letting people know you're listening to feedback, positive and neutral and negative, and applying it goes a long way with residents and prospective residents, especially.
Absolutely. Again, from our study, what we discovered was that the response to an online review is actually the third most helpful element of an online review for renters. So we asked them to rate, I think we gave them 10 different options, 10 different elements of an online review. And we said, rate them in, what's most helpful. So 80% of residents saying that the review contains detailed information, roughly 68%, 70% of renters saying that it's a verified review, but then about 50% of renters saying, yeah, that community response really helps me make an informed decision. So we definitely think that responding to your online reviews in a very thoughtful manner can go a long way. Sarah, question. What do you think are the critical components of crafting a compelling reason, a response to an online review, whether it's positive or negative? What goes into that strategy when you're reading a review? What are you thinking about that needs to be included in your response?
For a positive review, I'm definitely trying to match the tone and warmth and excitement of whoever left the review, being conversational, of course, matching the tone that the client has set too, but using exclamation points, being grateful and excited that they took the time to give this positive feedback and addressing their points personally, especially with a positive review. It can be very tempting to just say, thanks so much for your 5-star review and move on. But I think if someone comments, I received great service from the team. They came to fix my problem with my air conditioner immediately. And taking the time to say, thank you so much for this wonderful review. It's important to our team that we provide timely service. We're so glad we were able to deliver on that in your instance. It reinforces that for this property management team, offering that timely service is important. And I think that's really nice for a prospective resident to see. And
Mhm.
for a negative review, I always try to focus on the positive. If there's anything positive in the review, address that first. Thank them for the feedback, no matter what. Don't argue with them in the response. You want to come off as professional and as recognizing their pain points and giving them a way to reach out to the team offline and say, we would like to address your concerns in further detail, offer more assistance. Please call us at this number and we'd be glad to help. Helps them to figure out a way to address their problem with you personally. And it also shows a prospective resident they actually care when there's an issue, they want to help, they're giving an avenue to get that help. So that's a great way to respond instead of being defensive or, you know, negating their concerns or feelings.
Absolutely. We asked renters the same question, and we said, what impact does each of the following have on your perception of an apartment community when responding an apartment community? And the two that had the most positive impact were acknowledges specific mentions in the review. Like you had mentioned, you don't just say thank you for the positive review. You say, thank you so much. We're glad that we were able to, respond quickly for your air conditioning. So you're mentioning specific topics that were brought up in the review itself. And then you're tailoring that response. I've noticed that you're tailoring that response to the review. So it's very clearly not a template, right? It's been tailored. And that sends, as renters are showing here, to have a positive impact, leaving a positive impression of that management company, as opposed to using a templated response, which has almost no impact or a slightly negative impact. Or again, using technology like autoresponders or chatbots to write a response that has no first party data in it. So it's not going to be able to answer questions about where to follow up and how to get a hold, because that they don't know. So it becomes very apparent over time as a renter is reading multiple reviews, whether you're being personal or whether it's being transactional. And again, for our Satisfax customers, you know that that's the difference from sense of community. Are your residents only hearing from you in those transactional times, or are they receiving that personal service? Really goes a long way with sense of community. All right, let's go on to our next question. How do you ensure responses align with the company or community's brand voice and values of that management company or that community? Especially being a third party company, we're entrusted to represent that company or that community. How do we keep that communication open? How does that magic happen?
So, first of all, just making sure that we are clear on any examples of how they do want things to be replied to, reading through their property's website to kind of get a good sense of their brand and their tone that they use there. And also, Christine, who I work with on the review responder team, she is the point of contact for all the clients. She has meetings with them, she collects feedback from them. And sometimes they'll say, we want to avoid this particular kind of phrase, or when there's a negative review, this is how we would like to lean in terms of pointing the client or the resident or prospective resident to contacting us. Please use this email, and just keeping that line of communication open and receiving feedback from them of what do you think of how we're replying, what should we change, what should we keep doing, and being very open to that. And I think it goes without saying, for every client, we're maintaining a very professional tone, while still being conversational with the reviewer too, addressing them by name if they leave their name or any information like that, and making sure everything is grammatically sound, no typos, no spelling errors, and just like I said, being very open to that feedback from them, because it's how they're responding, and we want it to be exactly how they would do themselves.
hmm I've been thinking a lot about this particular topic as we're growing as a team. Our review responder team is growing. How can clients communicate with us that style, right? It's almost kind of like a brand guideline, which represents, your logos, your design, your color. But there should be maybe a style guideline established for either that community or that company around how do you want to respond to those reviews. And I really do think that it takes some time to develop what is that style and then properly communicate it with any of your third party vendors that are helping you with these tasks. Also, right, if we respond, don't our clients have the ability to maybe tweak or edit our responses afterward?
Yes, they do. They always have that ability, and also some clients, if they're especially when they're newly onboarded,
Mhm.
they have the ability to none of our responses will auto post if they choose for it to be that way, even positive responses. They can have a once over of them before they actually get posted to make sure it's aligning with how their brand, their tone, and like just for instance, yesterday a newer client of Review Responder reached out and showed us some examples of how they like things to be replied to, so we could kind of tweak our style for them. And they kind of sent over some template responses, which we will use as a guideline, but then of course we'll take it to the next level and make the responses more personalized, but maintaining that tone that they prefer.
Oh, I think that's fabulous. Absolutely. Response management sure has come a long way since when I started responding to online reviews in 2010, and things have definitely changed. All right, let's see. When we think about approaching responding to negative reviews while still maintaining that professionalism, how do you do that? Because I've read some of these reviews and they get me heated. So what's your strategy for making sure that those reviews, uh, you know that feeling doesn't reflect in your response?
So I think that's where my experience working in multifamily has comes in too. Like I used to talk to residents who were really upset and experiencing an issue and be that first point of contact for them on the phone or on email sometimes. And I just think back to how frustrated they were in those conversations and how important it was to kind of give them a recognize that they were frustrated and make them feel validated in their feelings, but also bring it back to, okay, well, what can we do to fix the issue? What can we do to bring this back to a place where you're happy with your home and with the service you're receiving? So I really think try to put myself in their shoes and not let it be like, wow, that's a really frustrating review that we received. And this person is kind of being rude because sometimes people are really upset and
Mhm.
they say things that maybe they wouldn't on a normal day, but just, and also thinking about the fact that every response reflects on the client and their company, and you don't ever want something to be online, even if it could be deleted. Ever things can live forever online. People can take screenshots. You always want it to be a positive reflection of the company, no matter how the review may come off from the reviewer themselves.
Absolutely. You know, what I liked to think of when, I was responding to online reviews is that I wasn't just responding to the person who posted the review, right? Because when you're posting that response, you have two distinct audiences. Yes, you have the one person who posted the review. You want to respond to them in the best way possible. But more importantly, I like to think about that secondary audience, which are all of the prospects that are going to be reading that review and your response. And how do I want them to perceive my ability to provide this person with great customer service, uh, irregardless of the tone or, the harshness in the review itself? So I always like to think of that, writing for those two audiences, the person who posted the review and the people who are going to read it. Um, in your experience, what are some of the mistakes that you see when you're, coming across different online reviews that we're not responding to, but you're maybe doing research of how other people are responding? What do you see out there that really stands out as like a big no-no?
I think taking too long to respond, only responding to negative reviews, not acknowledging positive reviews is one. Not having proper spelling and grammar in responses, like not capitalizing the start of a sentence, having spelling mistakes. It just comes off as kind of sloppy,
Hmm.
and being defensive and argumentative to negative comments, or just being too generic and not personalized enough, like we've kind of discussed so far today.
Hmm. Yep. That's about right. Okay, last one. We asked, how does it make you feel when an apartment community staff member responds to an online review? I wanted to share this one with you guys because it's just like, the poll question we asked, right? Made you guys feel really good. It had an impact. Renters are feeling the same way. They're saying that they have great customer service or they really care about their residents. So definitely those responses are crafting those impressions. Sarah, are there any specific tactics or techniques you use to turn negative experiences into positive outcomes through your responses?
So I have noticed a recent trend of people coming back to their reviews. So maybe somebody had a bad experience and they left a one-star review for a property, but then they were able to get in contact with their property manager and resolve the issue. And them coming back and updating the review, then it gets put back into the response queue. So I think that's something that's really great to point out when I'm responding to that and saying, like, thank you so much for coming back and updating your review. We're so happy to know that you received the help that you needed and that you can cite whatever issue they were having has been resolved. We want to make sure all of our residents can receive help when needed and have a wonderful experience living here at the community, and just kind of pointing out that, hey, this person had a problem. They were really dissatisfied, but guess what? They were able to get the help they needed and all is well. Now they're happy, because that to a prospect is like, wherever you live, issues are going to arise. It's unavoidable. It's not at the fault of the property manager. It's just something that happens. So how are companies going to handle that? Like, that's a property manager you want to live with, someone that's going to address it, be there to help, and then kind of make it a success story overall.
Absolutely. So it sounds to me like online reviews are an extension of your customer service. Like they are that public facing, you could have a one-star review. This person's angry. They're talking all about, these different experiences. But if you craft that really great response that demonstrates your commitment to customer service, that demonstrates your knowledge of the community, that demonstrates your uh, urgency, right? You're responding in a quick manner, because again, like Sarah, you had mentioned not responding fast enough, right? Imagine someone wrote something that seems very urgent on the first of the month. Management team didn't post a response until the end of the month, and you're a prospect, you're researching where to live. What kind of impression does that leave, right? So these are all things that I think that we should really take some time when we're responding to our online reviews to be thoughtful, to be personalized, to be urgent, right? That expectation we saw on a prior slide is about 1 to 2 days. If you can get that response up there within 1 to 2 days, really having that maximizing that positive impression. All good stuff. Sarah, thanks so much for sharing all of those insights with us. I want to play a quick game with you and with our audience. So audience, if you're still there with me, go ahead and get scanned back in to the polling app. It's time for us to play fact or fiction. So Sarah, what this is I'm going to read you 2 statements, and you just basically need to let me know, is this fact or is this fiction? Are you ready?
Yeah, fun. Okay.
Okay, let's do it. Our first statement, let's see. It is, oh, we're waiting for players. We got some players. All right, question 1 of 2. 74% of renters are confident that they can recognize a canned or automated response to an online review. Sarah, what do you think?
I think that's fact.
What our audience thinks. Give them a little bit more time. Everyone has answered. All right. It's fact. Absolutely. 74% of renters in the biannual online renter study did say that they can recognize those canned or automated responses. All right. Next question. Gen Z renters exhibit the lowest confidence level in discerning whether an online review response is canned or automated. So when we looked at our data and we broke it up by generation, we're saying that Gen Z cannot confidently discern from a canned or automated response. Do you think that's fact, or do we think that's fiction?
I think that's fiction. I think they would be the most confident.
Well, you are absolutely right. They are the most confident. In fact, the average for all renters was 73%, but Gen Z comes in at 82%. Our Gen Z's renters are truth seekers. You know, they are digital natives. They are growing up with technology. They have AI now. They are looking for the truth, and they absolutely think that they can sniff out a fake review or a canned response. So there's no pulling the wool over their eyes. All right. Well, thanks, Sarah, so much for joining the conversation today. Guys, I think we're almost at the end of our time together. Want to remind you about that social contests. What you're going to want to do is head over to the Satisfax Education page on Instagram or Satisfax on Facebook. We'll have a post up. Go ahead and comment with your biggest takeaway from today's conversation for that chance to win a $50 gift card. Our judges are standing by, and all entries do need to be posted before 5 p.m. tonight Pacific time. Also, please don't forget to register for our next conversation. We're going to have an experienced director of asset management join us. She's going to come on and talk about what she looks for when assessing a community's online reputation. Basically, the asset management's perspective of reputation management. That should be a really interesting conversation. I do hope you'll join us. And again, thank you so much for joining the program today. I'm Carla Alisea, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.